Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
What's crackin', fantasy champs? My name's Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always.
What's going on?
Hopefully you enjoyed a wonderful week 2. Actually, I would say this was a pretty horrible week. Not because I lost in 4 out of 7 leagues, but I feel like it was just an all-around bad scoring week, unless you had Aaron Jones or Derrick Henry.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Those two went off, but everybody else was kind of...
I looked in all my leagues, and everyone was like scoring around the same amount of fantasy points, except the 2 teams that had Aaron Jones and Derrick Henry. If you have Derrick Henry and Aaron Jones, you probably scored 200-something. Did we have a guy in a league score 250 this week in a PPR league?
We did, yeah. I think he does have Henry and Aaron Jones.
That is absurd.
Yeah.
So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed a win-filled Sunday, unlike myself. I was at a fair with my wife and her family, so I watched like 3 games total.
That's unfortunate.
Yep.
I sat on the couch and watched
a lot of
football all day. Yeah. All the games at once.
So anyway, yes, I tried to catch up as much as I could on Monday, and it was a very interesting week. I think I want to say 9 quarterbacks got hurt.
Yeah, at one point or another.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I kept on getting notifications about it. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Thankfully, I think pretty much all of them were mostly fine.
Tyrod, I think, is going to be...
Tyrod's the only one
on Monday.
And Tua might miss a game.
Tua Tagovailoa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a chance to go.
It was interesting because usually week 1, you come out and a lot of injuries happen that week because people haven't been really, like the starters haven't been really playing in the preseason that much. And if they did, it was like on a limited capacity. You're not allowed to hit each other that much in practice. So it's like you get to game 1 and everyone gets hurt week 1. Fortunately, no one got hurt week 2, but I guess they saved it all week 1, but they saved it all for week 2.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I think Deontay Johnson ripped my soul out and then they put it back in on Monday.
Yeah. Because the initial report was that they feared
torn ACL.
It could have been a torn ACL, yeah. And then they're like, no, he's actually fine.
Yeah, I was scared out of my mind. I thought he was going to be hurt, and that was going to be it for me. But either way. So hopefully you enjoyed your week 2. Today, we're going to jump right into week 3. We're going to give you waiver wire targets for this week. So waiver wire, week 3 targets. Before we do that, check out our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter, at the FF Champs, on Instagram, at the Fantasy Champions, on Facebook, at facebook.com/the Fantasy Champions. And you guys, TikTok, I think it's at the FF Champs there. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcast platforms, leave a review, share this podcast with your friends. And then on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, like, and then comment down below if your waiver wire ad worked out last week. I would say mine didn't.
Debatable.
I mean, Mitchell did have 17 carries.
Right. And Trey Sermon is now injured.
For 2.5 yards a carry. He has a shoulder injury, so that's astounding. Both their backup running backs, they have 4 running backs coming into the season. 4. All 4 of them are hurt.
Yeah. They had Wayne Gallman. They cut him.
So Kerryon Johnson and one other guy, whose name escapes me, who they signed to the practice squad. I think it's Trent Cannon.
Oh, yeah.
The Baltimore Ravens cut him after promoting him. So those 2 guys are going to be the backup this week. If Kerryon goes out, lights up the field, I'll be hell.
Everybody's going to go flying to Kerryon just so Trey Sermon starts in week 6. And then Elijah Mitchell again in week 8. And we just go back and forth.
I know. But if Mitchell did have a tough matchup this week. So I told you to pick him up for a lot of waiver budget, but not necessarily start him for this week, which I did not. But now I can't even trade him. I got to sit here and hold on to him, hold my breath that he actually is good.
Yeah.
But either way, let's hop into the week 3 waiver wire. What say you, Ricardo?
Yeah, let's do it.
So it should be a rather interesting show. We have some guys that we like. I was looking at some of the players on these lists, and well, it's waiver wire, so I don't get too excited. But
right after week 1, it gets worse and worse.
It's so
every
true.
week.
And then I sit here and I find myself talking about some guy that's the 3rd string. And remember last year we had a Travis Fulgham show?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every week.
Every single week it was like pick up Fulgham.
And then he got cut.
Yeah, in the training camp this year. So anyway, we're going to start with quarterbacks, move the running backs, wide receivers, tight ends in that order. Try our best to get you out of here in a quick manner because
be precise about it.
Yeah, precise about it. Rick's got places to be.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm sure you would much rather be talking about fantasy football.
I really would.
All right, so let's start with the quarterback position. I don't necessarily think at this point there's no real breakouts, if you would say that. The only one I see having, or the only 2 guys I see having any kind of potential breakout season at the quarterback position for fantasy football, not for real life, would be Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. Only because they have a really good strength of schedule rest of season. Both of them have really good strength of schedules for the playoffs. And Daniel Jones more specifically has been providing a really interesting rushing floor.
Yeah.
I think he has 120 plus yards and 2 rushing touchdowns so far. So like if that, no, the rushing touchdowns won't continue, but if he continues to add a rushing floor of 60 to 70 yards, then that would be rather interesting and also helpful for your fantasy team. And Sam Darnold has just been really good. So, I mean, either one, I don't think Sam Darnold has had a prolific fantasy week, but I believe in both weeks he's had over 20.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's interesting because Daniel Jones, we knew he could run the ball, and that was always like why he was hyped up to be a potential breakout quarterback the last 2 years. But this year he's like really running it. I mean, he had 95 yards against Washington, but he also had a decent game throwing the as long as he doesn't like suck turning the ball over and throwing the football.
Right.
He's actually going to be a pretty good option week to week because of his rushing floor. And like you said, Sam Darnold has just been really solid. More for real football and fantasy, he's decent, but he doesn't run at all. So it's more just what he does in the passing game, but he's still getting like 20 points a week. And for this week in particular, he's playing Houston, so I could see him getting another 20-point week. So he's a good streaming option. And then Daniel Jones, long-term and for this week, is also a good option to pick up.
What are your thoughts on Derek Carr for this week? Not long-term, but this week.
I actually don't like it this week because he's playing Miami, and Miami's defense is actually pretty decent. Josh, I know they gave up 35 points this week. That was because the offense was absolutely horrendous and giving Buffalo great field position. And even Josh Allen actually struggled against Miami. And then in week 1, Miami did a decent job against New England too. So I think Derek Carr is going to do okay because he's Derek Carr and I think he's a solid quarterback. But fantasy wise, I don't think he's going to put up another 25 plus point week.
This is interesting. Why is Desean Watson on this waiver wire list on Fantasy Pros?
It doesn't make sense. They've already ruled him out for week 3, so it doesn't. I don't really get that. Unless they know something that everyone else doesn't.
That's what I was gonna say. They've ruled him out for week 3, but why is he on this list? So I literally just jumped to like 3 different platforms just check reports because I'm like, what is happening? As far as I'm concerned, Watson is not playing, but he's
the head coach said to the media that Deshaun Watson will be inactive.
Yeah. And
Davis Mills is the starter.
Yeah, David Mills is starting on Thursday night.
Right.
There's no rumors about Deshaun Watson. Don't pick him up. That's a bad idea.
I don't know why he's even on the list.
That's a real bad idea. But yeah, I think I agree with Rick. Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, both streamable assets. Derek Carr this week against Miami, I'm not really like. It's not exciting, and I won't disagree with you, but Actually, maybe I kind of agree with you with Derek Carr. Because Miami's really like their defense has kind of been overplayed, overhyped a little bit.
It is, but the best part of their defense is the secondary.
Yeah,
which will affect the passing game.
Okay, that's fair. The thing that I will note is that they haven't had. Now I don't know if Jacobs is playing this week, but they haven't really had Josh Jacobs at full capacity in the first 2 weeks. Week 1, they played Baltimore in a shootout on Monday Night Football, 56 passing attempts for Derek Carr. Week 2, they played Pittsburgh, close game, no Josh Jacobs, 37 passing attempts. So the way that I kind of look at this and slice it is that I don't know that he's going to continue to get that workload, especially like if Miami doesn't have Tua, this will be a real quick game for the Raiders, you would think.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's not. I don't think he's going to throw 435 yards and 382 yards like he did in week 1 and week 2. He might throw a couple touchdowns. I could see that, but he doesn't provide any kind of rushing floor. So it really is all about passing metrics. And if he has a tougher matchup against that secondary, it wouldn't be worth it to me. But Teddy Bridgewater is also an interesting guy. Did you reference him, or did I just?
I haven't touched on Teddy Bridgewater yet.
Okay, so Teddy Bridgewater has been interesting so far this year, and I watched this video. Can't remember what the guy's name is on YouTube. He does, analyzes the quarterback position in certain players, and they did a tape breakdown of Teddy Bridgewater when he was with Carolina last year, and they did a breakdown of when he was with New Orleans. And essentially, Carolina did not use Teddy Bridgewater the way that he was used in New Orleans, where he had success. They used it in a completely different way that basically made him useless for the most part. So Denver has been using Teddy Bridgewater like he was used in New Orleans, and it's looked really good. He's thrown over 500 passing yards, over 4 touchdowns. He doesn't provide any rushing floor either, and he's playing the Jets, who I don't know if it's because they played Mac Jones and Mac Jones has scored fantasy points or not, but so far this year they haven't given up a lot of fantasy points to the quarterback position. I think Teddy Bridgewater could change that. Is he somebody you're looking to pick up or start this week against the Jets?
Yeah, he'd be on the list. He's been very solid too. I think he's kind of similar to Darnold fantasy-wise, though, where he's just never going to have a crazy rushing game. So he's never – and so unless he plays like Tom Brady, he's not going to get 30-plus points. Mm-hmm. But I think against the Jets, it's another good matchup. He put up 20-plus against Jacksonville, or 20 points against Jacksonville. So if he can do that against Jacksonville, I think he can do that against the Jets. If you're streaming quarterbacks, he should definitely be on your list. I would put him behind Daniel Jones, though, and probably behind Darnold, too. I'd put him third, and then Derek Carr.
That's what I was going to say. Quickly rank the quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, there you go.
You just did. I would say Danny Dimes 1.
Yep.
Darnold 2, Carr 3, Bridgewater 4.
All right, fair.
Are you putting waiver budget on any of these guys?
Maybe Daniel Jones.
Or just hoping for them?
Yeah, I mean, if you're streaming quarterbacks in a one-quarterback redraft league, you really don't have to put I would put maybe $1 or $2 on Daniel Jones, but worst comes to worst, I end up with Teddy Bridgewater.
If you're streaming, the chances are. I was looking at a couple of leagues that I'm in that are redraft non-super flex because it is what it is. Mm-hmm. When you're in those leagues, quarterbacks don't matter as much. But everyone basically has a quarterback, with the exception of 1 or 2 teams. So it's there's not going to be people who are going to run out to the waiver wire and start streaming as of right now. But either way, yeah, those are the quarterbacks. Let's move to running back. Excuse me. So it's basically an abyss at the running back position, as always. J.D. McKissick.
Oh, boy.
I own Antonio Gibson in far too many leagues, and McKissick just likes to rip myself. He had 9 total touches in the game and stole touchdowns from everybody. So, either way. Yeah, it's clear to me at this point that it looked like in game 1 that they were trying to get Gibson more involved in the passing game and make him the featured pass catching back. For whatever reason, they shifted away from that in this game. They gave Mckissick, I believe they gave Mckissick passing down work. So when they started losing control of that game against the Giants, or not losing control, but they realized it was going to be a shootout. They put J.D. Mckissick a lot on the field, even in the 2-minute drill at the end of the game. He was still only in there for 44% of the snaps, but to me it looks like this guy's going to be their pass-catching running back, similar to how he was last year. I don't see, without that rush, was it a rushing touchdown? Yeah, it was a rushing touchdown.
He did have a rushing touchdown.
Without that big play that he had in the game, the big catch, he essentially is, to me, he's not useful in fantasy at all. He does provide good pass catching upside, possibly, but is it worth sticking at the bottom of your bench and wasting waiver budget on? No, not to me.
Yeah.
So I would stay away from J.D. McKissick.
To me, he's kind of just like Nyheim Hines.
Essentially, except a little bit less opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, this week he was much better than Hines, but the week before Hines was much better than McKissick. So, I mean, I feel like they're pretty much the same player, and it's like, do you really want to go out of your way to get Nyheim Hines on your team?
Nope.
I mean, should J.D. McKissick be owned? Yeah, probably. He could get like 8 points, 10 points a week, and you could plug him in at a flex if you need him to, but like, it's so not exciting, and I'm not going out of my way to get him.
No. If you have some trashy bench players or a backup quarterback that you don't need, maybe.
Right.
But and I feel the same way about the next guy, which is Kenneth Gamewell.
Yeah.
Just some of the options that you'll see at the top of your waiver list for the week.
There are definitely people who think Kenneth Gainwell is an RB1.
I will say on PFF, I want to see if I can pull those numbers up because I had them in front of my face and now they've vanished because it is what it is. But PFF grades players by certain positions. You can see that if you pay for the PFF membership, but either way. They basically have graded all the running backs. I told Rick before the show, Tony Pollard, number 1. If he's on your waiver wire, go ahead, pick him up. Feel free.
Yeah, sure.
I think he's pretty much owned in every league. But right now, the number 11th graded running back in the NFL, according to PFF right now, is Kenneth Gainwell.
Which is interesting.
I don't think his limited opportunity share is going to change.
No, it's not.
Like he played 35% of the snaps in week 1. I don't have a number for the second week. But he had 6 carries, 2 receptions this week, 8 touches. Unless he gets up to a 12 to 14 touch a game total, I don't think he's worth it. I don't know how he scored 6 points this week in half PPR. I can't figure that out.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's 30. 2 catches would be like 5 points. Where does the 6 come in? I don't know. How did
we have punt return? Maybe
I don't know. That's what I was looking for. Kick returning, punt returning. Either way, yeah, he's not an efficient runner on the ground, so it's clear Miles Sanders is going to get that work. And Miles Sanders is also going to get all the work in the passing game. I think Kenneth Gamewell will provide some opportunities through the air, but at this point, unless Sanders gets hurt or isn't active for whatever reason, Kenny Gainwell should. I really don't even think he should be on your roster, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, probably not.
It's a guy to keep an eye on. Like if you want to hit the star button, the watch button on your sleeper app, you can do that.
Would you rather have McKissick or Gainwell?
Probably McKissick.
Yeah, fair.
So I mean, I do like Gainwell as a player, but he's not going to get much opportunity as far as it stands right now. The 17 fantasy points to start the season's cute. But either way, I'm gonna rack my brain how he scored 6 points with the numbers that I have in front of me. Either way.
Yes, I have no idea.
So the next guy we're gonna talk about, Alexander Madison. I love Alexander Madison, but I drafted him to be a handcuff. Now, there are rumors floating around the rumor mill that so Dalvin Cook went down 2 times this week. Mm-hmm. Scared me twice. If Dalvin Cook does not play this week and he's out, Alexander Madison becomes a very, very valuable commodity for fantasy managers. I think you should go out and pick him up. So the problem is that do you waste waiver budget on Alexander Madison trying to get him on your team thinking that Dalvin Cook might not play, or you just leave it alone and just go with it? Because I don't think... I have Alexander Madison in the home league because I'm a smart handcuff guy. So if Dalvin Cook doesn't play, I got a replacement. But if you're looking to start somebody, that's the only reason why I would pick up Madison. And that's only if Dalvin Cook doesn't play. So if this guy goes off, waiver budget out the wazoo for Alexander Madison, whatever. But
yeah,
are you willing to take the risk on picking him up with the hope that Dalvin Cook doesn't play this week? Or are you just leaving it alone?
If Dalvin Cook doesn't play this week, obviously Madison's going to be very good. But are you going to waste waiver budget on a chance that someone might not play?
No. Unless you have Dalvin Cook, then yes, waste your waiver
budget. But if you don't have
Dalvin
Cook, it's like, I don't know.
Is it worth it?
If you have the roster spot, sure, why not? But it's not really something that I think you have to do.
Yeah, I agree. And then there's some other guys. One of the guys that I've seen a lot of people. You go to trending on Sleeper's app. It shows you how many guys are getting picked up. 407,000 people have picked up Cordero Patterson. Why?
He had 2 touchdowns this week, bro.
Wahoo! He actually did pretty good receiving. I just this Atlanta offense.
It's kind of gross, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to pick up Cordell Patterson to add to the bottom of your bench if you have space. Right now in the season, I see some teams in some of my leagues and go, "Why do you have that player on your team? You should drop him for somebody else." But everyone, me and Rick, were conversing. He likes Bryan Edwards. He won't take waiver. He won't give me waiver budget for Bryan Edwards.
No,
holding a grudge. But no, Rick told me when I came up to him asking him if he wanted Bryan Edwards, and he basically said, listen, my bench is good. I like the guys on it, and I'm not gonna.
Well, it's more just the roster spot.
Yeah, it's he values the roster spots that he have, and he doesn't have one for Bryan Edwards. So it's kind of at this point for me, do I want to pick up Cordero Patterson knowing that next week he's going to get 2 points and you're just going to drop him and then you lose out on the guy that you dropped? I don't know. It's just not worth it to me. But if you have a roster spot and you need a running back, go ahead. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess. I just
I guess. The running back position is just so disgusting.
The reason that makes Patterson, though, I think valuable in a sense is because he's really not a running back, but he's listed as a running back.
Yeah.
So you get he's kind of like a receiver that you can play at a running back position.
Right.
And hopefully he gets you 8 points a week because he gets 3 or 4 catches a game. And then if he does anything on the ground, it's a plus. So, he's kind of falls in that Mckissick category, to be honest. And that, Kenneth Gainwell, that Nyheim Hines sort of category, which is disgusting, but...
Yeah, it's true.
People own him, so...
Now, just a couple more guys, because we got to move on, but Zack Moss, I don't really know why they made him inactive week 1, but he came out this week. He had 8 carries, 2 receptions, 10 total opportunities. He scored 2 touchdowns, so he's getting the red zone work. Are you interested in picking that up, or?
Honestly, I will say Zack Moss probably has the highest ceiling of the guys we talked about.
I agree.
on standalone value. So yeah, I probably would, but he's another one who I just don't love. Like I don't love the situation over the player.
Right. I would say Zack Moss, bottom of your bench, similar to Cordell Patterson. And then Kerryon Johnson's interesting too with San Francisco. If they elevate Johnson from the practice, I wouldn't pick him up right now. I would wait until after the waivers have passed, and just see if they elevate Kerryon Johnson from the practice squad to the active roster, because he's probably going to end up being the number 2 guy if the other 2 running backs miss time. So, and then I don't know if Josh Jacobs is going to miss more time, but Peyton Barber is also there as like a handcuff. They gave him like 14 attempts this week, and it didn't look good, but it's there if you need it. Anyway, so let's move to the wide receiver position. Lots of interesting guys. None of them are available in my home league, and I was triggered about that.
Yeah, I mean, the top guys aren't bad.
No, they're not at all. I just wish I could get them in the home league, and I can't. So Henry Ruggs had, 20 points this week?
Yep.
I like him. How much waiver budget?
Nothing crazy. I definitely would want to own him, but, I feel like Ruggs is the type of player that will get 20 points, and then he'll get 6.
Yeah.
Because he's just a big player.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe 10%. I don't know.
Okay. So 10 to $20.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I do like him a lot. I target share is the biggest concern for Ruggs, and it always has been. So that's why I'm like, I mean, he's had 12 targets so far this year.
It's better than it was last year, but it's still not wide receiver 1.
I think he's their best receiver. I know they want to pretend that Bryan Edwards is their best receiver, but it really is Henry Ruggs. So, sorry.
I don't know. I feel like
they keep talking about Bryan Edwards, and it's not correlating into the game, which means that he's not.
He had a good week 1.
He did have a good week 1, but it wasn't until he didn't get targeted until the fourth quarter. So I'm like,
they're totally different types of players, though. It's like comparing, a poor man's. They're nowhere near this level of player.
No, they're not.
But a Tyreek Hill and a pure receiver, like a Devontae Adams.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It's one's just a speedster, and then the other is more of a big wide receiver route runner type of guy.
That's fair. I would just keep an eye on Ruggs. I think there's an opportunity that he is able to expand that target share. But then we also have Rondell Moore.
Your guy.
This is my
guy.
You
were trying to draft in every league, and literally, I don't think you got him in one.
No, I didn't get him in a single league. What the frick? He had 5 targets week 1, 8 targets week 2, so he had an increase in target share. I absolutely love Rondell. I am a little bit more concerned about the upside of Rondell Moore moving forward, only because they have AJ Green. They seem to like him. Obviously they have Hopkins, they have Kirk. So this receiving core is going to remind me. This receiver core reminds me a lot of I don't want to say the Rams, but I can't remember which one I'm thinking of. But there's a receiver core in the NFL where it's any given week it's one of the wide receivers that goes off.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it is, though. But either way, this is going to be one of those receiving cores where one week it's going to be Christian Kirk catching 2 touchdowns, one week it's going to be Rondell Moore catching a touchdown, and the next week it's going to be Hopkins catching 5. You know what I mean? Whatever. Mm-hmm. So I like the way Kyler Murray is spreading the ball around, but I don't know if this is going to be consistent, but I would definitely add Rondell Moore. I would put $20, $30 on him because I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Rondell Moore is... It's interesting because you are right, where other than Hopkins, between Rondell Moore, Christian Kirk, and AJ Green, you don't really know who's going to get the targets. Mm-hmm. I think eventually Rondell Moore will be the clear-cut number 2.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I could easily see him coming out next week and getting 3 fantasy points.
I agree.
And he also had that one big play where he had a 77-yard touchdown, and you take away that one big play, he has he still actually has a decent game. It's 6 catches for 50 yards. But I mean, it's definitely way less than what it would have been. But
yeah,
no, he definitely, it was impressive, and I'm glad that the Cardinals are using him. At least it looks like, and he should be owned for sure. Just when it comes to starting him, I would pump the brakes a little bit. But yeah, definitely get Rondell Moore on your team.
Tim Patrick. I don't know what he did this week. I gotta look.
He scored a touchdown.
Oh really?
I don't know about his targets or anything.
Yeah, no,
still gross. 4 targets.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick that up. And then Mooney, if he's available, should be rostered in some leagues.
Yeah, he should.
He had 9 points this week, 8 targets. So I think the quarterback play and the efficiency of the offense has held guys like Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney up this year so far. Once they decide which quarterback they want to go with, hopefully it's Justin Fields. I think
Fields will start this week. He might.
And if he does, they're telling everyone. I swear to God, if Justin Fields goes out and he freaking lights up the field and he's really, really good, and they go back to if Matt Nagy goes back to Andy Dalton, I will freaking hunt Matt Nagy down. Unbelievable. Like, I'm already getting triggered because I'm thinking that that's what he's going to do. But with Justin Fields, I think Mooney and Allen Robinson have like a higher ceiling than they do with Andy Dalton, obviously. Now, Dalton didn't play that bad this past week before.
No, he didn't.
He was actually playing really well, but we'll have to see what happens moving forward. I do like Mooney, so he should be rostered. I don't know why people wouldn't have him in leagues. And then I don't know if there's anyone else in this list that you're keeping an eye on and want to pick up, but
yeah, other than those top guys, I think Pascal maybe if T.Y. Hilton continues in this time. Receiver, right KJ Osborne is an interesting one.
I have not seen him on. Was he not on this list? Because I really wanted to say something. Yeah, he's on this list. Why is he so low?
I don't know.
Okay, so this is what I was going to say about KJ Osborne. Osborne had like 8 targets last week, 5 targets this week, or 6 targets this week, I should say.
He had 9 in week 1 and 6 in this week.
So basically what everyone's worried about is target share for him. Can he continue with the 6 to 9 targets a game? Like, is that something that's going to continue moving into the future? And I was racking my brain a little bit on it because I was like, what are they going to do with Osborne? And I realized that, Irv Smith Jr. got hurt and Kyle Rudolph is gone. And so the tight end target share that they were giving out last year has just been absorbed by Osborne.
Pretty much.
So I don't think that 6 to 9 target share is going to go away. I think it's going to be 6 to 7 a game, but I don't think that's going away. The concern for Osborne is touchdown upside because they have Jefferson, they have Thielen. Thielen's a huge red zone target, so I don't think that Minnesota is going to be targeting Osborne all that much in the red zone. I could see him catching only like 4 or 5 touchdowns this year if he actually is what he is in the first 2 weeks. But yeah, so I don't think the ceiling is very high for him, but I think I could see a ceiling if the target share continues. I think I could see a ceiling for KJ Osborne that is like low end wide receiver 2. Very low end, maybe high end wide receiver 3, which should be rostered. I don't know why people are not really on. Like after 2 weeks, it's a trend,
I think he's a wide receiver 3, but that's not a bad thing.
No, not in fantasy football. No, I mean, running back 3, yes, that's horrible. Like
he should definitely be rostered.
Yeah. So
what about I know he's rostered in most leagues, I think, but did Jalen Reagor have a good week? Oh no, I guess not. He only had 1 point, but he had like a 50-yard touchdown that ended up getting called back.
Oh god, referees are real annoying this time of year.
Yeah, but
they take away plays.
Keep your eye on him. The whole offense stunk. So
last night, quite literally, I was watching Deandre Swift and I got triggered. I got pissed off. Swift it was literally 2 seconds. The run was 2 seconds. It was right up the middle for 8 yards. And somehow, it was, like I said, 2 seconds, not even, maybe like 1 second he was on the ground after 8 yards, right? And somehow the referee calls holding. Like, somebody held in the 1 second that he ran up the middle? Like, what is this, Madden?
Do they show the replay?
No. It was like the end of the game, so it didn't matter that much. But I was like, what are you guys doing? Just shut up and keep it in your pants. Like, my God, I'm so tired of NFL referees getting involved in the game. Like, I know there's holding on every call, but like...
Yeah. Oh, I know. I wish they would just let him play.
Just let him play. Really like, it's like, I have to wait till like week 10.
I very much agree with that take.
Anyway, so at the tight end position, I would say nobody.
Yeah. Honestly, good luck at tight end.
Yeah, if you're streaming tight, like, give me one tight end that you'll stream.
Personally?
Yeah.
There isn't one.
I agree.
Like, maybe Cole Kmet now that Fields is starting, but
Jack Doyle had a good week this week. And I only know that because I actually have him in the league on a bottom of a bench in a dynasty league.
So maybe Jack Doyle.
I mean. Hooper has been getting not really a great target share, but he's averaging like 5 points a game. I mean, if you're at the bottom of the league and you don't have a tight end, more power to. I would say Austin Hooper.
I guess so. And maybe if Evan Ingram's available in your league, give him a shot.
Nothing to lose, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. There's a complete waiver wire show for week 3. Tomorrow, we're going to bring you some interesting content. I believe it's the Thursday night preview. So we'll go over the Panthers. What is it? Panthers and Texans game? Gross. But anyway, see you tomorrow, guys. Thanks for listening.
See you guys later.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.